G'day guys and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be talking about the Garmin R10 and alignment. How do you do it consistently and correctly to get good data or good metrics? So the biggest thing I see people do incorrectly, and that I was doing incorrectly, was you don't get the Garmin directly behind your ball when doing the setup. So what happens is a lot of people work from the unit to the screen and they either place it 2, 3, 4 inches to the left or 2, 3, 4 inches to the right, and then align to their impact location. And the issue with doing this is that the Garmin's going to be turned to one side a couple of degrees. And what happens when you do that is you're now not going to get accurate horizontal launch angle. You're not going to get accurate club path data. You're not going to get accurate club face data or face to path data. So there's a lot of data there that you could induce errors, and when doing so, ingrain bad habits in your swing. If you're someone that predominantly slices the ball and you set up your Garmin incorrectly, you could be ingraining that fade or slice swing, the out to in path, just by having bad alignment on the R10. So that's probably the biggest thing with the alignment, is making sure the Garmin is directly behind your ball when setting it up. To do that, the way I do it is I actually start from my screen and my impact location first and work backwards with a laser. The reason I use a laser is because I'm working indoors. I want to maximize the space in my area. So by using a laser, it enables me to get the Garmin against the wall, or in this case, my garage door. All right, guys, let me go through my setup here. So I do have an alignment stand. You don't need an alignment stand, but like I said, it's an aid and it's something that can help you get repeatable results. When you take this off to charge it and bring it back, this is going to be in the same location, and it's just going to make aligning the stand a lot easier. So I have a Global Golf alignment stand, and this did come with a laser. And the reason I got the Global Golf is because they're based in Australia and I live in Australia. So it was the quickest and easiest for me to get. It comes with a laser. This thing is pretty much unusable. It's trash. I basically wouldn't even use this. So what I did is I went and bought an actual proper good laser just from my local hardware store. And I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. So like I said, you don't need one of these stands, but it will make the process a lot easier when you're doing this over and over and over. I've got my unit on a couple of pieces of gym mat that I had left over cut up. And it pretty much matches the same height as my hitting mat. Okay, so first thing I'll do is I will actually check to see if the Garmin R10 is actually aligned with the stand. So you can see this, the front of the alignment stand here and the front of the R10. I try and make those match exactly the same or as close as I can. Okay, from there, like I said, I'm not going to start aligning the unit here, because if I do that, I can induce errors with my club path and swing path and face to path, because it can be angled to the left or the right. So if I aligned it and I had it too far to the right of my hitting area, and then I align it with a laser, and if I was to align that, it's actually going to be tilted or turned to the right. Okay, so then I'm going to be swinging to the right, but the Garmin's going to be telling me I'm swinging neutral. Okay, so this is a very important part of the process, is actually figuring out where the middle or where the exact center point is from the impact location back through the hitting mat to the R10. And for me, it's actually a little bit to the right of the center of my garage. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my good laser, and you don't need a stand. Like if you wanted to just buy a laser and not get a stand, this would do the job perfectly fine. But the stand is it just makes it easier. It makes it more repeatable. So I'm going to come to my screen. The way I have my impact screen set up is I've got these gym mats, and I've got 4 of them. And the middle of the screen is in the middle of these 2 gym mats. So I use this line here as a reference line for the center of my screen, and that just happens to match up with the line when I play GS Pro for the fairway line. And then I'm going to get my laser, going to turn it on. I'm going to get it pretty much aligned from the screen through the two mats there. Okay, and that is my center line there. All right, so now that's running all the way back through my impact position on the mat and to the Garmin. All right, so now I can go up to my Garmin and I can tell that the Garmin isn't perfectly aligned. Okay, so I'm just going to shift the Garmin over until that is in the middle. So now I'm happy with the position, the horizontal position of my Garmin. That's going straight through where my ball would be on the mat. So my ball would be here, and it's going straight through the ball and straight through the Garmin. So that's perfect. Now, once I've done that, I'm going to grab my laser, bring it back over to the Garmin, and now I'm going to place it in front of the Garmin, or you can use the laser that came with it, but like I said, it's not, I'll show you what I mean. It's just so weak, you can barely see the line. It doesn't even make it to the screen. It's really weak. So get rid of that. Get your actual laser. I'm going to put it to where it's on the, it's pressing up against the front of that alignment stand, and turn it on. Okay, now from there, that's pressing up against the alignment stand, so that's square. Now I can see my line is pretty much spot on. So if I come up to the screen, the laser's pretty much going, it's just here to the right. So it's aligned slightly to the right, but it's pretty good. So I'm going to go back and I'm just going to turn this slightly to the left. And I'll just fiddle around with it until the laser's going straight through the mats up to the screen. Now, that's the laser alignment done. All right, so here we are at the driving range. The final part of the process is I'm going to hit some chip shots. I'm going to hit them at the center point that I had my impact location at, and I'm just going to see whether the Garmin is reading the horizontal launch angle correctly. Bear in mind, the Garmin does have 1 degree of potential error with horizontal and vertical launch angle. So even if you're hitting the center of your screen, it could be off up to a degree. So we're at the driving range and I'm just going to hit some chip shots. Okay, so now picking out the center impact location, making sure the ball's in the correct location, I'm just going to hit some chip shots. That hit pretty much middle of screen, and it's a little bit to the right. And I'll probably hit about 4 or 5 of these, or more if required. Pretty much middle, it's a little bit to the right. Pretty much middle, a little bit to the right. So I've had 3 consistently take off to the right. A little bit to the right. Pretty much middle, and that's right. Okay, so I've had 4 consistently take off a little bit to the right. So I'm going to now go and adjust the unit. I'm going to turn it a little bit to the right, just to try and fix that up. All right, a lot closer there. That was middle, I felt, and the ball's come off in the middle. Pretty much middle. Tiny bit to the left. Pretty much middle. And I mean, it's 0.2 to the left. Pretty much middle. 0.3. That's to the right. And it was 0.7. Pretty much middle. 0.3. And we'll do one more. Pretty much middle. And we're going 0.6. That's pretty much aligned. If I wanted to, I could play around with it a tiny bit more, maybe move it a tiny bit to the left again. But we're within a degree of horizontal launch angle. So for me, that's within tolerances. and I'm quite happy with that. All right, guys, so that's how I align my Garmin R10. And like I said, if you're not using your impact location and working back from there at the very start, you're gonna influence your data. You're gonna influence club path, face to path, club face, all those metrics are gonna be influenced, and you could be potentially ingraining a bad habit by not having the R10 directly behind the ball to start with. Do you need an alignment stand? No, you don't need an alignment stand. All the alignment stand is doing is making it easier for you to achieve this process of aligning the R10 consistently indoors. I do calibrate the unit every time I turn it on. I'll do a sync and I'll calibrate. The other thing is, if you do move your ball left and right on your hitting mat, just know that if you move your ball 2 inches to the left, now your impact location on your screen should also be 2 inches to the left. And the same if you go right, your impact location on the screen will be right. And just know that, because if you move your ball on the mat and keep your impact location in the middle, then you're going to be inducing errors in your horizontal launch angle, club path, face to path, and the rest. Hope this video helps, guys. If you got any questions, let me know, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.